Two, three, four, five. All right, guys, welcome to another session of the Transform Sales Podcast, Sales Software Review. Today we have Jói, which is the founder and CEO of CrankWheel. Where today we are going to show you how insurance agents can use CrankWheel in order for them to shorten their sales cycle. Jói, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Dave. It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time. Jói, what is the name of the software product that you want to share with us today?
It's called CrankWheel Screen Sharing.
Got it. And what category do you guys currently fall into at the moment?
So we kind of go in two categories, I would say. One is web conferencing, although we're not a traditional web conferencing tool, and the other is screen recording. So something like Loom or Vidyard, you can do that kind of stuff with us too.
Got it. And at the moment, I know we're going to focus on insurance agents and how they can shorten their sales cycle, but who else is an ideal customer of yours at the moment? Who can use your product and get the most benefit?
Yep. The most benefit is for anybody who's working the phone all day doing sales, especially when the prospects you're reaching can make up their minds and buy on the first call if you're able to do a good enough presentation. So homeowners, small business owners, all kinds of these independent people, or mostly independent, who can make the decision to buy something.
Got it. So you did mention that it's similar to Loom, so it does have the ability for you to go there and update a title, description, transcription, also have like an embedded code for you to add to your newsletters in case you want to educate a massive amount of audience. Is that something that's possible through you guys as well?
Absolutely. So any session, you can record it, you can use it as a sales video, embed it in an email or newsletter. But the primary use case for CrankWheel is to do a live screen share while you're on a phone call.
Okay, got it. Thanks for clarifying that. And what is something that your software is currently helping users do that they couldn't do before your software existed?
So it's basically the ability to close a sale on the first call. So you can imagine, since we're talking about insurance agents, you can imagine that kind of sales cycle where usually before CrankWheel, the first call would be an intro call, get them interested, and then you would be trying to meet them in person, or you might be trying to schedule them for a Zoom call or something like that, but that can be really hard, especially if you're selling like health or life insurance. The audience tends to be, older folks who might not be comfortable with Zoom. Or when you reach them, they might be on the road. They only have their mobile device. They don't have the Zoom app or the Teams app or the Google Meet app. But CrankWheel is going to work every single time to add a visual presentation to your phone call. So you don't really need to tell them that you're going to do a web conference or anything like that. You just call them, you add CrankWheel. It's super easy, super smooth, especially for your clients. They don't need to do anything special.
Got it. So me as a potential client, right? I can also get like the live screen sharing on a mobile device, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't need to download any kind of app or anything. You can just use whatever browser you have on whatever phone or computer or tablet you have. It's just going to work on everything.
Okay, great. Great for sharing that. And how at the moment your clients are capable to measure their success with the tool?
I'd say the primary measure, like if you want to be scientific about it, is before you start using CrankWheel, just keep track of what's the typical number of touches with a prospect or a client before you are able to actually close the sale, and then check it after you start using CrankWheel. And what we tend to see is that in industries where you have these kind of decision makers who can make up their minds on the first call, if you can give them a good enough presentation, the typical number of touches just goes down to 1.
Got it. Jói, I have a question. Is CrankWheel a good tool that can complement like an omni-channel approach? So for example, let's say you're doing calls, emails, you're reaching out through LinkedIn. Is it something that's complementing very well with those type of campaigns?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, for calls, definitely you'll want to do the live screen share. For LinkedIn campaigns, for email campaigns, what you can do is you can record a screencast or just your webcam, talking to the person, and you can embed those videos in either emails or as LinkedIn messages or even as LinkedIn posts if you like.
Got it. And is it possible to also get like real-time notifications, how long the person stayed on the
Absolutely.
presentation?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. If you send them a sales video, you'll have like a little slide or a page where it shows you, how many times did they play it back, how much of your video did they watch. You'll get an instant on-screen notification when they start playing the video. You'll also get emails when they start playing the video.
Okay.
That's all configurable, of course, but yeah, you can track, kind of know when they're interested.
Awesome. So I'm glad you shared all that, and that's something that I think is very useful. One of the things that we always have buyers come across is how can they manage, let's say I have more than 200, 400 videos a month. Do you have like a system for me to tag the kind of videos for my audience and like have some sort of custom fields for me to differentiate the kind of videos? How does the organization part of it works?
Sure. Yeah, you give videos a title. You can search by title. For each video, you can create different segments for that video, which are just for tracking. So you can have the same video, but create a separate segment for tracking for each of the clients you send it to, or for each account you send it to. And that way, all the tracking is down to the individual account that you created a segment for. Yeah, you can search by date and various other ways.
Got it. Does it also have some sort of CTA if you want to take the person and take an action after watching it? Do you also have some sort of templates that people can use so that they always sound the same whenever they're creating a video? How does that look?
Yeah, so CTAs we do have. You can add so you can configure however many CTAs you want, and then you can choose from those when you create a video. Templates we don't have at the moment.
Oh, okay. Got it. Thanks for sharing that. So this is one of our favorite part from our audience is actually watching the demo itself. I know in this case, we're going to focus on how insurance agents can shorten the sales cycle. So can you give us a quick presentation of how that looks so that we get a better idea? Awesome.
Absolutely. I'm excited to. Yep.
Great.
So this is just the CrankWheel homepage, just to show you where you could get started. You can sign up right here for free. I'm just going to click login, which takes me to the CrankWheel dashboard. During the sign up process, part of that would be to install this little button in your browser. You don't have to, but it's a little bit more ergonomic to use CrankWheel that way. You can see right here on the dashboard recently recorded videos and recently shared videos, things like that. But let's focus on the use case of insurance agent already on the phone with a client. This might be the first time they're speaking with them, and they need to show them, their screen. And for an insurance agent, what they would be showing would typically be, they might start with just their webcam. I'm just going to show myself, just build trust on the call. And here's a preview of what the webcam would look like. I can turn background blurring on and off, of course. And to get a customer connected, I can do a few things. I can send them a text message. I can send them an email. I can copy a link if I have them in like a chat or something like that. Or I can ask them to go to what we call a public link, which is a really easy to type URL, which is basically meeting.is/ and then your brand name. So it makes it super easy to connect. Right now, I'm going to focus on how to get them connected when you know that they are on the road. They just have their mobile phone, because that's one of the ways that we are completely different from anything else. So let me send a text message right there to myself. I just typed in the phone number here, and it says sender will show as 877-559-4335. And I'm just going to show you my phone on camera, but also here is my phone screen, basically. You see it says join my meeting by clicking this link. And it's join my meeting by clicking this link, and then there's a link for them to click. So if I had them on the phone, my script would be, please put me on speaker, click the link I just sent you. I just want to show you something. And a couple of things to note. There is no question like, what kind of phone do you have? What kind of browser do you have? Is it an old phone? Is it a new phone? Nothing like that. And also, I don't need to explain that we're going to do a video conference or a screen share. They don't need to understand those terms. So you see right now, they're seeing my webcam on the phone. So, an insurance agent quite typically would start just with the webcam. And you see it says you're viewing your presenter screen. That's just a way to explain to them that they're seeing a live video. That's all. We're not seeing anything about them and so forth. Okay. And
then while you're calling, it makes it very personal, very personalized
exactly.
as well, right?
Yeah. It's a way to build trust. And especially like in the insurance game, it's all about trusting the individual that's helping you with your insurance. So that matters a lot. Another thing, so yeah, so an insurance agent might very often start with just the webcam, but then they might want to open up their their license, for example, for the client's state and show that on screen. So I don't actually have a license right here, but let me just show the contents of this browser window to start with. So anytime I can choose browser tab, program window, or full screen to share to the prospect's phone. So let me do browser tab, and then I'm going to confirm the browser tab. And if I go back to my phone screen here, you'll see that it's only the contents of that browser tab. Plus there's a little webcam overlay here. I'm just going to change the size of that so that it's a bit bigger. Oh, sorry, I changed the location, not the size. There it is, a little bit bigger. So you see when I have background blurring on, it just removes the background, right? So we make use of that real estate. If I do full screen sharing, I can just share everything that's on my screen. Sorry, let me drag this down here so we avoid the hall of mirrors. And now it's showing everything that's on my screen. And then I can also do program window, which would be one particular program window. So let's say I want to share my Windows computer over here, and then it'll share just that. You see.
Yeah.
And when I'm sharing just browser tab or program window, I can work in other browser tabs or program windows without that going to my prospect's screen share. So yeah, so that's sort of some of the basics. I want to show you just a couple more things. So, sorry, let's go browser tab here. So, all right, so you see how there's a highlighted area here? Well, actually, look at this window. This is what we call the preview pane. It shows you exactly what's on your client's screen at any given time, or it shows you what they are seeing in terms of the screen share. So if I scroll my phone down, you see the highlight actually moves to show me exactly what they're seeing, right?
Got it.
See, now they're zoomed in on this and whatever. And let's say, they're losing attention and they're actually going to Facebook or whatever. You see what happens? I don't know what's on their screen, but I do know that they're no longer watching the screen share. And then when they come back, you see. So you can sort of try to prompt them, hey, oh, I want to show you something right here. And then you know when they're back. If they touch stuff on the screen share, you see how there's an orange disc that shows up wherever they touch.
I feel like this is a good way for also qualifying potential buyers that actually care. You're not distracted, paying attention to everything you're sharing.
Yeah, if they're not coming back when you specifically say, hey, I want to show you something, then they're not that interested. They're not that interested probably if that happens. So one other thing I want to show you, which is an insurance specific thing, is what we call ACA forms. So when you have a customer client that connects from their mobile phone, then we can verify their phone number because we sent a link specific to that client to just that phone number. So now we know their phone number and we can do a verified e-signature of insurance consent forms, insurance attestation forms. And I'm not going to go through the process because it's not very visual, but it's basically they get a form that they can fill on their mobile phone where they're saying, I want this person to be my agent or broker. They get a preview of a PDF version of the form, and then they do an e-signature, and then that goes to both parties. And this really helps make the process smoother of complying with regulations about how well you need to be able to prove that they chose you as their agent or broker.
No, thanks for sharing that. One of the things that I like to ask is, okay, so I got the video recorded. How does it look like for me to share it to them via email or for me to embed it in a newsletter?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can record at any time. You don't need to have a client connected to your session to record. So, but I will record now. So, let's imagine I'm doing a sales video. I would probably just record my webcam. I'd probably have a nice background and actually show it. And then I'd hit record. And then it'd be something like, hey, Jane Doe, this is Jói Sigurdsson, your helpful and friendly local insurance agent. And I would love to have a follow-up call with you, for that meeting that we just had, yada, yada, yada. And then you stop and the recording preview shows up. So here's your recording right here. All right, it's just finishing uploading to the cloud. And I might say something like follow up for Jane Doe. Okay, and then if I want to share it with her, I would click the sharing button here. And I can either copy a link here, or I can copy what we call an email template. And if I copy this email template and then paste it into an email, then it'll be like an animated preview, just like you're seeing right here. So in the email, it'll be an animated preview that she can click, and then it'll play the video. And the video player, that looks like this. If you have a call to action, it'll show up right around this area once they've played the video for a few seconds, so that it doesn't distract from them starting the video. So they start the video, play it, call to action would show up right here. And I'll show you where you see the.
I like how you guys take into account those little precious seconds where, you know, we want to make sure before they hit the CTA, they at least know what they're getting into.
Absolutely. I mean, at least, you know, that's been the feedback from most of our customers, is that when you send them the video, you actually do want them to watch the video, or at least start it. So you don't want to give them the CTA, you know, before they have the context that they're given, you know, from the video itself. So here's the overview page where you can see that it's been visited 1 time, this video, and only the first few seconds were played. The rest weren't played, you see? And you can actually drill down to like individual plays, you know, if you want to. Here you can choose a call to action. You see, you set up call to actions on a different page, and then you can choose one of them to show on that video. You can show your email and name on the video if you want, and you can also control how often you want notifications on screen or email notifications when people are playing that video. And then you can create more segments, as I mentioned. So if you want to create one video for, let's say, you know, that you're going to use with 10 different accounts, then you could create segments. You know, you'd create an account B segment, and then you would have completely separate tracking for account B versus the other segment, and you would have a separate link or a video embed here that you would copy for that segment. So you can get really fancy if you want to.
Yeah, I can see that. No, this is by far one of the most mobile-friendly screen sharing software I have ever seen in my life, honestly. And the fact that it's live, it can support the person through the sales cycle, I think is super valuable. But I think like this is great, Jói.
Great. Yeah, no, we absolutely designed this as a tool for salespeople. And, you know, from speaking to multiple salespeople, and my co-founder is, you know, longtime salesperson himself, it was apparent that it's not enough for a tool that you're going to use in sales to work, you know, 70 or 80% of the time without problems, or without, you know, your client feeling that they don't know how to use it or something. It just needs to work every single time, just like the phone does, right? The phone is completely reliable. It just works. And the screen share for sales also needs to be completely reliable, and it needs to just work without putting some kind of burden on your prospect.
No, and one thing that you mentioned earlier is there's a lot of people that we're prospecting. They're not in their desk most of the time, right? So sometimes we miss the opportunity extended. So with this, you can easily tackle valuable conversations. So of course, I'm the kind of person that I try to prioritize safety whenever they're in a car, but you know, most of the time they do take the time to, you know, sometimes park and knock down the call in 10, 15 minutes. But I feel like this is a great ally to support you in that sense, right?
Absolutely, yes. We don't want them on screen shares while they're driving. You should never suggest that, I think. But we do have a video on our YouTube channel just for fun, just showing how compatible CrankWheel is of screen sharing to the screen of a Tesla. And of course, in that video, the prospect pulls over before watching, but you can definitely do that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
no, and in this session, we don't only care about our potential buyer safety, but we also want them to be super informed before they decide to get on board, right?
Absolutely.
So, great. No, I think this was a great session. I do appreciate your time for sharing this. For those that are considering a screen sharing software that is highly mobile friendly, this is definitely a very good alternative. If not, probably the best option you have in the market right now. This link will be in the description for those that are interested in considering this tool. Jói will always be there to support you if you have any questions. Jói, thank you so much for being part of the Transform Sales podcast, Software Review today.
Hey, Dave, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity to get in front of your viewership. And it was great. Thanks.
Awesome. Hope to see you in the next session.